There you are. Welcome to Zen Fits in Blackstone, Virginia, the center of the world. Let's talk about the androgyny of Villanelle in Killing Eve. The androgyny of Villanelle. There are two creation myths that are part of the Western tradition. The first one is Plato's creation myth. I bet you didn't even know that. And the other one is the Bible's creation myth. Now, these are very different viewpoints, but Greek philosophy, the Greek mind is as part of our Western mind as the biblical mind. We're kind of like a mix, like a martini, where gin is gin and vermouth is vermouth, but when you mix them together in the Western mind, you can't separate them. So the Greek in the Bible, Greek philosophy in the Bible, the Greek reason, the Greek rational mind, and the biblical faith mind are stirred like a martini. And we get drunk on it because we don't use a twist of irony. We don't see the irony in it. So what is the creation myth of Plato? I think this was in his symposium that it came out. But the creation myth is where the original man was androgynous. The original human wasn't a man. The original human was androgynous. Half male, half female. Four arms, 4 legs. Very powerful, this original human. The gods were a little afraid of him. So they petitioned Zeus and said, please, cut this human in half, so he will spend his life looking for his other half instead of taking power from us. So Zeus did it. He cut man into half, a male and female. And now humanity spends its life looking for its other half, its twin. It's opposite, you see. It's beloved. It was the one that was divided. And now, separated from ourselves, we go through history looking for our beloved, looking for our missing half, looking for our missing unity. Now, the Bible myth states this unity is the Garden of Eden. In the Garden of Eden, everything is one. God, nature, and man, all one. All one, you see. But then, Eve, that willful woman, bit the apple of good and evil and split the one apart. Now, Adam is separate from Eve, and Eve is separate from Adam. And Adam and Eve are separate from nature, and they're separate from God. And like toys, they're kind of like wound up and loose into history. So they wander through history looking for their original relationship. So for me, this is the way I see the difference. And with the Platonic myth, we're searching for our original self, our original one, our true nature, our one nature. And in the biblical myth, they're searching for the original relationship, our covenant, our relationship with God and nature. So in the Platonic myth, we're searching for oneness. And in the biblical myth, we're searching for a relationship that is in harmony. The relationship with God and nature and self, that is like Fred and Ginger Rogers dancing, a joyous relationship. A relationship with the one where the two are not stepping on each other's toes. The two are dancing as one. But in the Platonic myth, there is no two. There is the original one, you see. So this gets into what I think, in Killing Eve, even if you haven't watched it, you can get a sense of this. Eve, Killing of Eve, is a story that's rooted in the Platonic myth, where the two, Eve and Villanelle, recognize their oneness in each other And the whole movie is they're trying to become one again. And of course they resist, so there's a play between resistance and surrender. And this is the love story we all remember, if you've had one. There's a resistance to being one because you have to give up your separate self. You have to give up your freedom. You have to give up your uniqueness. You have to give up your, nobody tells me what to do. We have to give that up when the call to oneness called, you see. But in our Western tradition, this call to oneness or relationship is always has a worm in it. It's always, well, the original rush and ecstasy of the romance is the looking into your lover's eye and seeing yourself looking back. But that fades. And now we're in a working relationship. We have to work to keep the relationship from killing each other, you see. But this is not identity. Now, the Eastern tradition, Buddhism in particularly, is a quest for identity, not relationship. The aspirant for the seeker of identity wants to know God or the one directly, wants to be the one, wants to die into the one, wants to be the one. But in the West, which is a duality operating system, the Western mind is a dual operating system, while the Eastern mind is an identity operating system. In the dual operating system, all you can get is relationship. And this relationship is always fraught with conflict. The worm. There's always a worm in it. You never quite get to identity. You may get real close to it. But no, the washing machine breaks down, or she's got I hate the way she talks, or he cheated, or whatever. So the relationship is always breaking up. We never can quite get to identity, oneness, true self. So this is the question the two myths present. Are we one, or are we two? What is the one? What is the two? They're different. Can they be separated? This is the Zen martini I like. The gin and the vermouth are different, but you stir them together, you can't separate them. They're not separate. They're not different. But you have to have that twist of irony, the lemon twist that my uncle said to always drink with your martini. So, when I'm looking at killing Eve, I'm looking from the viewpoint of the Platonic myth of oneness, where here you have Eve and Villanelle, two women who see each other, who see themselves in the other. They see their beloved, they see their original oneness in the other. And they're attracted to it, but they're repelled by it at the same time. So the whole movie is a working out of this repelling, pulling back. Each one tries to shoot the other, tries to kill the other. Each one resists, and yet they can't resist the call. So there's the play, you see, the play of resistance and the call. And this is why people get so upset with the ending, that metaphorically, in the great love myths like Romeo and Juliet and Tristan and Isolde, these great love stories ended in death. But this is a metaphorical death. Because when you become one with something, you die. We all experience this. You go to a wedding reception, and there's the dance, and the music calls you. Now, usually women are the ones that go in first and start dancing on. And the men are kind of like standing on the side, arms crossed. And the women say, come on in, come on in. Die into the music, disappear into the music, become the music. Become the music. Die, and your little separate self with your arms crossed that says, I need more liquor, has to die. Come on in. Jump into life. It's a dance. Die into life, and you live. But the little separate self, the ego, holds back, arms crossed. And then if it does go in, it's kind of self-conscious. Do I look like a fool? Do I look like a fool? And finally, even the ego gives way. And it just falls into the music and dies into the music, you see. So oneness, so these love stories, Juliet killing Eve, this old Tristan and Isolde, the Middle Ages story, are all about death and dying into love, dying into unity. See, relationships, you say in the relationship you still hold back a little bit of my separate self. Oh, I'm going to get married and I'm going to jump in. I'm going to hold back a little bit. I'm not going to give it all. I got to hold back something. A little taste of my freedom, a little taste of my independence, a little taste of my control and power. I got to hold something back. I can't give it all up, because then the other one has control over me. If I give up myself into the relationship, I'm being dominated by the other. I disappear. I'm whipped. In other words, I've lost my independence. But that's not it. That's the fault in a relationship that does not have the goal of unity, that does not have the goal of identity. So in the dance, like Fred and Ginger Roger, each one dies to the music, and when each one dies, they are the dance, and both dance independent of the other, yet not separate from the other. We call that being in the zone. Being in the zone. Being in the death to the one. Anyway, thanks for dropping in, having a Zen fit with me.